Hey, YouTubers and van lifers. Okay, so today's video is going to be interesting. It's on travel day anxiety. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're full-time, part-time, RV, van, Class C, Class A, trailer, fifth wheel, whatever it is, everybody experiences travel day anxiety, but you know what? Nobody talks about it. So today on this video, let's get into it and talk about TDA or travel day anxiety. All right, so it looks like we've come to an absolute dead stop. Well, not so much a dead stop, I suppose. Really, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what vehicle you're driving. Travel day creates a level of anxiety that all of us have, whether you admit it or not. And, you'll have some folks be like, oh, I don't have any anxiety on travel day. Yeah, you do. You're just not telling anybody about it. So in the comments, let me know, what kind of travel anxiety do you have on travel day? Now, a lot of times the reasons that you have anxiety on travel day is probably because you've been stationary for a little while and maybe it's time to move and you're just comfortable. That's all. And packing everything up and hauling in the electric cord and hauling in the water pump or the water hose and dumping the tanks and getting everything put away in your storage containers under your garage. All of that creates this level of, okay, we're getting ready to move. Now, for me in van life, it's been completely different. I get on the road and I go, but I still do have anxiety. I have anxiety about my route. Now, how many of you have followed my videos and have seen my GPS taking and doing its own thing, traveling me down roads where I'm like, what am I doing back here? Yeah, that creates a whole lot of anxiety. I think another area is logistics. So if you work from the road, you know how important your internet connection is. It doesn't really matter whether you're using a cell or Starlink or you need cell tower coverage, whatever. The reality of it is that the logistics of a travel day can be challenging. And if you're in a current location, you know that you've got cell service or your Starlink is working or whatever. However, moving on to a new location, you may have researched it and said, oh yeah, we got great cell coverage here, or oh yeah, Starlink will work here fine. But the minute you get there and realize I got too many trees or my cell coverage is at 1 bar and it's just not enough for me to work. So that can create stress and anxiety as well. I've had friends tell me, well, you know what, if you pre-plan your trip, you're going to be fine. Yeah, I always pre-plan my trips, and I'm sure most of my people that watch this video are pre-planning their trips, but you don't know what's going to happen along the road, okay? I have a friend of mine who, that one day when we first started traveling together, we literally were going from Louisiana to Texas, and we didn't even get pulled out of the campground before his back lights weren't working, and I noticed them because I was behind him. And, being as diligent as he was, he changed the backlight and all of a sudden everything was working great. And he looked over at me and he said, if this is the only thing we have happen today, it's going to be a good travel day. And I said, yeah, that's true. And let's hope that's all that happens today. I think is interesting is when you're on the road and you're driving and you're traveling and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I hear a noise. It's not a noise that's normal to me. And you pull over and you look and everything seems fine. And then you get back on the road and then you hear another noise. Sometimes that vigilance that you have when you're driving, especially with your vehicle, can create a certain level of anxiety. Shortly after I got the van, I'm driving along and doing great. And I'm heading up to Michigan. And I hear this creak sound that's coming from what I thought was the front driver's side wheelbase. And it just was this terrible creaking sound. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out what it was. And I'm thinking in my head, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this, or it could be that. And so I pulled over. I'm looking underneath the wheelbase. I'm looking for something that would reasonably make me understand about what that creaking sound was. Could not find it. The next day, I heard it again. And I finally realized it wasn't the wheelbase of the van. It was the seat. The seat was rusted in one part and was creaking with the road. But it's that level of anxiety that I think can really get to you when you're traveling. Now, if you're traveling and you're towing a vehicle, that's a whole nother set of anxiety right there. Making sure that the tow vehicle is properly attached to the RV, making sure that the exterior lighting is working, making sure that your braking is good. And, all of those things can create additional stress when you're on the road. Again, going back to the fact that if you've watched my channel for any period of time, I guess I'm telling you, I've been through it all with the travel anxiety thing. And driving the Class A, I actually stuck myself in Alabama for almost 9 months out of anxiety and intrepidation about driving that huge Class A that was unreliable. Interestingly enough, I did a video that says, "I'm on my way, Mom," and I'll have to link that video here, and where I'm actually towing my car for the first time. That's the first time I've ever towed anything. And once you get into the towing, it's fine, but it's all the anxiety you have before the towing. So preparing for your travel day is probably one of the best ways, I think, to mitigate some of the stress and anxiety that you have during that preparation phase. Getting yourself psyched to get on the road. I love being on the road. I never had an issue getting on the road. It was always the anxiety about getting everything ready to go. The packing and the putting in your hoses and emptying your black tanks and doing all those things. While they were great, they created this sense of anxiety of, okay, I'm packing everything up and I'm leaving. Now, this is especially true if I'm actually taking a long trip in the van where I haven't been on the road for a couple weeks or maybe even a couple months. Getting my road legs again is challenging. So in the execution phase where you're actually on the road and you're driving, okay, one of the things I like to do to mitigate that stress is to make sure that I have enough fuel. Make sure that my tires are all at the required PSI. And so I'll stop at a gas station at the first stop. I'll fill up my gas and I'll double check all my tire pressures to make sure everything's in good shape. Because that helps reduce the stress of having any kind of failure from not having fuel or having your tires be too low, or even to the point of where you might have a flat tire. Of course, during that execution phase, what you want to do is you want to walk around your RV, you want to make sure that things look good, and that really helps to reduce some of the anxiety as well. During that execution phase, when you're driving, I always had a special rule that I wanted to arrive at my destination, hopefully before it was dark. I don't really have a fondness for driving in dark. I can do it. I will do it. I have done it. But it's just the idea or the notion of being able to pull in and get myself situated before it turns dark. Now, I know RVers have what they call the 10-2-2 rule. You leave at 10 o'clock in the morning, you drive for 2 hours, and you arrive at your destination by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I love that rule. It's not necessarily always feasible, but if you can follow a rule something like that, that would be wonderful. The other thing that might be helpful to you on travel day as well to remove that anxiety is to have a established playlist. Something that you can put on, or audiobooks, or something that helps take your mind off of your vigilance and of everything that's going on around you. Once you get on the road and you get your travel legs, it really only takes a little bit of time before the anxiety is relaxed and you're moving forward. Of course, unless something happens. But I have to think that that's a whole nother video. We're not going to necessarily talk about that today. Okay, so you've been driving, and you have finally reached your destination. What's the next stage here in removing that travel day anxiety? Well, you're there. You've arrived. Take a look and, do you have enough clearance for your Starlink? Is your cell signal at least 2 or 3 bars? There's one stress gone. Pull into your site, back it in, make it pretty, get yourself level, and then take a 5-minute power drain and just chill out. We get to our destination and we're immediately running around, you know, putting out our electric cord and getting our hose out and putting up our sewage tanks. You know, if you're a true RVer, that's what you're doing. Now, if you're van lifing, you may not be doing that so much because you may be traveling a whole lot more. You may want to just stay mobile. But with a Class A, with Class C, with a fifth wheel travel trailer, you're probably getting ready to pull things out. I submit, take a breather, 5-minute power drain, just be like, I'm here. It's all good. I made it. Nothing catastrophic happened, and I'm chilling out. That 5 minutes can make a whole lot of difference in your anxiety and in your mental health. All right, so the 5-minute power drain's done. Now get up, get yourself situated, set up your campsite, you know, get your RV all hooked up and comfortable, unpack all of your stuff in the rig, and get yourself situated for a nice evening. And then the reward. Make yourself a beverage, kick your feet up, relax for a little bit before you start cooking dinner. So I want to know from you, what are your travel day anxieties? What do you do to mitigate them and to make yourself feel a little bit better? There's all kinds of things, right? There's preparations, there's GPS, there's knowing where you're going. But what about the unknowns? You know, there's a lot of unknowns when we get on the road. So what do you use to reduce your anxiety, to chill yourself out? But the best thing is, what are your rewards when you get to your destination? I want to hear that in the comments. All right, everyone, I'm going to end the video here, but hopefully you found value from travel day anxiety and you've learned some skills that will help you manage that anxiety and that stress as you're getting on the road and traveling to your next amazing and awesome destination. All right, if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, I would definitely appreciate you subscribing. And I would love it if you would come over and visit me on my Substack page, where we talk a lot about van life and a lot of other life circumstances and issues. So happy that you're here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. All right, everyone, so I hope you liked the video. If you did, oh my God. Maybe if you didn't, maybe I should, oh, that's what I should do. I should do like bloopers. Bloopers. It's freaking freezing out here. Oh. All right, so I hope you'll join me on my Substack, where we talk a lot about van life and what did we talk about on there? Ooh, it's cold.